Do you wonder how comfortable you'll be living in the nuclear apocalypse? Do you worry that some peasant will take a huge steaming dump in the air vent of your bunker? Do you have fears roving bands of mercenaries will convince your armed guards to form a mutiny, and thus feeding you to the proverbial wolves while cannibalizing all your wealth and riches? Well, come on down to Bob's Bunker Warehouse, where we have thought of all possible outcomes to keep you safe. Wild animals? No problem. Roving hordes of plebeians? Pfft, who cares? Traitorous employees? Not a chance. None of these are a concern for our superior AI-powered systems. We have the very best engineers working on this high-tech infrastructure from all over the world, mostly India, to give you the very best in all the latest technological advancements. Let Rajesh and his team build and design the perfect bunker for you and your loved ones' needs. So come on down to Bob's Bunker Warehouse, where all the workers who built the bunker and know the secret locations have things they love and families they care about. Bob's Bunker Warehouse. Welcome to the show, everyone. This is P&G Weekly. Let's get into the news. Hopefully, we're getting more caught up as the weeks go on. So this news is a little more recent than last week's episode. So bear with me, and maybe eventually we'll get caught up to current day, current year. So anyway, first up, this is a story I wanted to talk about and touch back on. This was the jury trial that I sat on a month or so ago. And this was for the death of an inmate at a corrections facility. And this gentleman, Jonah Levi, and several of his corrections officers, our fellow corrections officers, were charged with manslaughter, gang assault, falsifying paperwork, and then a couple of them, including this man, murder as well. So murder charge, myself and a bunch of the other jurors fought against. We were adamant that shouldn't be one of the charges. And so we compromised on the gang assault and some of the other ones. He shouldn't have walked away scot-free by no means, but we'll watch this little video
thank you
here.
For joining us. Plenty of emotion in Oneida County Court this morning as former state corrections officer Jonah Levi was sentenced to the maximum state prison time for his role in the death of inmate Messiah Nantwi. Our own Jolene Ferris was in court this morning and joins us now in studio with more. Jolene?
Thanks, Gary. We heard victim impact statement from victim Messiah Nantwi's cellmate at Midstate, and we also heard from the defendant, Jonah Levi, himself. The courtroom was full. The special prosecutor asked for the maximum 25 years in state prison for Levi's conviction on first-degree manslaughter. The defense made a last-minute case for the minimum sentence, 5 years. Both talked about several character reference letters sent to the court.
There's no way this guy was getting only 5 years. I'll tell you right now, this judge had it out for him, based on vibes and feelings. He obviously didn't say anything to that effect, but I think you could just kind of tell during the proceedings he would wear his emotions on his sleeve, we'll say. Like I said, I'm not going to say that he was biased or, say that there was anything untoward, but you could tell that he was frustrated with the defense and their claims, we'll say.
On Levi's behalf.
So this guy was getting max sentence no matter what.
By anyone. The nature of this man. He is a father. He is a husband. He's been a CEO for 17 years. He was a coach. He was on the school board.
read every one of them. The common theme is that Mr. Levy is a good coach, a good father, but the fact is that he's a lousy corrections officer. He made a choice to beat Mr. Nantwey in that room, allegedly for a bite that we now know.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like a
probably didn't
bulletproof
even occur.
vest or what's going on here, but, you know, usually you don't see them come in with accessories. I wonder if they're worried about him getting shot or something.
He feels awful about that, but that he stands true to what he said he's done and stands by his paperwork. The judge gave Levy the max 25 years in state prison on the manslaughter charge. There were shorter sentences for convictions on gang assault, conspiracy, and offering a false instrument for filing. They're to run concurrent, so the bottom line is 25 years in state prison.
So, yeah, this guy, 25 years. Jonah Levi. Levant. Yeah, so that's that. That chapter is closed. So I guess the reason I would kind of bridge this into the next topic of the Carmelo Anthony trial. Sucks being on a jury. Especially, I would say probably like a sexual assault of like a SA child case would be like way, way, way worse. Or like any kind of child crime, that would probably be worse. But just murder, you know, when you go and see like the evidence and like pictures and, you know, stuff like that, it sucks. Nobody should have to really nobody should have to. Many people have to. But I'll just say it stinks. It doesn't feel good to look at it. It doesn't feel good to like talk about it. So I feel bad for the jurors that had to be on the Carmelo Anthony case. Also, it's tough to have to be through, and they worked like Saturday too, so they went right through it, which I almost probably would prefer, because like once you're in there and dealing with that shit, you just want to get it over with, man. So let's get into the backlash of the Carmelo Anthony case. It seems like the jurors did a pretty good job. They did the best they could with what they had to work with. He wasn't going to get the death penalty. He was 17 at the time of the crime. In Texas, that's a no-go. The other little interesting part is like the sentencing, how they do it in Texas. We had to wait almost a month and a half, maybe almost, or, you know, a little over a month maybe, from the guilty verdict to the sentencing hearing in New York. Texas, man, they just bang it out right after. You know, they worked overtime that night too, till like 7, 8 o'clock, I think, to get all that done. So it's just interesting how different states work it, you know, not that one way is more right than the other. Justice usually gets served, you know. So Carmelo Anthony, everybody's seen like the antics outside the courtroom and then on social media afterwards. And what this is bringing us to is they're trying to gin up something. Let's watch these couple clips, then we'll get into that broader point. Guys, not that hard, right? This is just a normal man. Just a normal American opinion, not wanting his children to stab other people.
I also have 5 boys. She doesn't know what to do after the Carmelo incident. Like what to tell her sons, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and try something. Today, boys, when you go out into school, don't stab any other kids. You think you guys can do that?
I mean, Sorry for the meme of based black man here, but obviously this guy gets it. He's just seems like a regular black gentleman. I don't understand why it's like such a controversial opinion. All right, we'll go to our next a black woman. And I know a bunch of people have talked about her. So here's the thing, guys. I grew up very sheltered. I got culturally enriched when I grew up into my 20s. Starting out, however, very rural, kind of like farm community. We didn't have many. I think honestly there was like 2 black kids at my school, and we didn't even get the first one till I was like in 4th grade. So, and here's the thing. Those guys, it was more Cosby Show than Dr. Dre gangster rap type of situation. These more similar to like how this lady presents herself. So I feel, just coming from where I came from, I feel bad for the black people that are just think like normal Americans. They go to church, they work a job, they take their kids to the game, the baseball practice, football practice, whatever, coaches on teams, et cetera, et cetera. There was even a oh my God, yeah, we got a little storm going outside. That was even a theme like in the trial where like one of the coaches, Austin's coaches was black. A bunch of the kids who were witnesses were black. So I mean, like it's really, let's not give in to this race war who who is trying to foment to get attention off of themselves. And we'll watch a little bit of this.
You niggas are some of the most vile, inhumane species that have ever graced the earth. For days, I've watched black people jump around like monkeys, act a belligerent fool.
And so this is meant to stoke some like deep-seated internal hatred and fear. When you see this image, the European genes like come out and they're like, something is wrong. I sense a disturbance in the force. But it's crazy. I feel very bad for
at the whole entire
this lady and
over a
people like her
that somebody chose to do. And now y'all are out here harming innocent white people in the name of Carmelo Anthony. I again, as I've said before, I am a Christian woman, and I know that the Lord don't make mistakes, but I just know that He has to look at the nigger population and know that He definitely made a big time mistake with y'all. Since I'm on the road with keeping it real about you niggas.
A little side fucking thing. Obviously, this woman is not Wall Street apes. So why does this motherfucker come in here and put his watermark on this lady's video, completely like etching her out? Why can we not follow this beautiful based black woman ourselves? We don't even know her username.
Let's keep
it's
it real.
Bullshit. Give
y'all
credit,
with
guys.
This
Come
nigga
on.
mentality mindset is holding white people
I'm guilty of probably not giving it sometimes, but I always try to like have it on the page. I never try to like crop anything out like that.
Y'all have been violating God since the biblical time. Y'all have been so disrespectful to the word of God, so bad that He put a curse on us. He said that your kids and your kids' kids and their kids are going to feel the.
Hey, I mean, this is her theory. So I don't know. You guys can. A lot of people have seen this video. I'm sure it's been making the rounds. All right, here's the broader point. We do not want to give in to this race war that is being drummed up and fomented. All right, when you start talking about blacks versus whites, then you're not talking about the other problems. They've been trying to do this since the 60s. All right, so this is a book, Helter Skelter. It's about the Charles Manson case. And for the younger people who may not know, the broad conspiracy of Charles Manson is he was trying to start a race war. He would have his group commit grisly, brutal murders in white neighborhoods, trying to blame that on like black militants in order to start a race war. And then this was the theory. He called it Helter Skelter, which he claims that he was inspired from the Beatles song and like the White Album in general from the Beatles, while using LSD, other drugs, what have you. And so that this theory came to him that he must be the one to start this race war. So there's other aspects too. I had Grok pull up the summary. It's been a long time since I read the book. I read it a couple times, but I know the first time I read it, I think I was 15, 16. I was pretty young. And I think I read it again in my 20s. So it's been a little bit since I read it. And then, conspiracy videos and online spaces, you're like introduced to other like things that kind of like tie into that. So like the Tom O'Neill book, The Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s. He alleges that there was like a MK Ultra or government influence to Charles Manson. So, I mean, guys, they've been trying to start this race war since at least, 1969, 1967, that time period. What are we doing here? They keep doing the same playbook over and over again. You can't fall for it. That's why, like, the history is important. You got to learn about some of this shit. So you're like, oh, yeah, I remember that. As soon as I saw this Carmelo Anthony shit, like I saw like the videos outside of like the two groups going back and forth and, the dancing and the yelling and the screaming. I'm just like, oh, Helter Skelter. They're trying it again. So, hey, do not fall for it. We got bigger fish to fry. Y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, let's move on. So this is another topic I wanted to talk about. The Henry Nowak UK Belfast protests. Here, well, let's watch this, and then we'll talk about it.
This is what a small minority of people in Belfast considered the best response to a serious stabbing. Homes were targeted and burned. Families had to be led to safety through the flames, rescued by emergency services, risking their lives in the most dangerous situation. It's what the authorities feared all day, what they warned against and pleaded not to see. The condemnation came quickly and was widespread.
And what you're seeing is a race-based pogrom. We're seeing men going door to door, asking to get the foreigners out, based exclusively on the colour of their skin. It's not based on what they're contributing to society, what their status here is, and it's terrible.
So obviously, BBC, they are not going to touch the real reason why it has, the pot has boiled and is now overflowing. Like there's a clear and distinct reason why they're upset, why the people are upset.
Terrifying for people in Belfast who want this sort of politics to be far beyond them.
It wasn't just homes. Cars were also torched by young masked men in these predominantly unionist streets. But the target here was immigrants, and the message to entirely innocent families was, you're not welcome.
So, yeah, it's reached a boiling point, right? So you saw it with the protests, with Henry Nowak. And I, as American, we only get what we get from like foreign news, right? You only get what the feed will give you, unless you're like actively like seeking it out. And this is no offense to any other country, but every country should feel the same way. Like, we have so many problems at home that you're getting inundated with, that it's really hard to get a broader picture worldwide, and see all like the individual issues and cases, unless something gets so big that it like boils over, like the Henry Nowak. And like we saw it before, like I don't remember the young girl's name, but the ex girl, you know, Viking girl. You see the stories once in a while that pop up, once they reach like a certain point. So there may have been larger protests before Henry, but obviously the way that was handled by the police sparked a justified outrage amongst the people. And, you know, I'm not sure what the solution is for the unarmed population of Britain and the UK at large. I can't condemn. I literally will not condemn anything. Only they know how to handle it. Their people are being like tortured and killed and raped, stabbed. They're being stabbed in the street and then left to die and called a racist. So I'm not sure what the solution is. The government is not helping its native population. They're bending over backwards to help, you know, the recently the immigrant population that recently arrived, you know. So what's the solution? I would hope, and I know many of them in the UK and Ireland, you know, they're Christians, they're Catholics, Protestant. So I'm sure that they don't want violence and bloodshed and death and destruction, but their people are being hurt. So I don't know, I'm not sure what to do. So here, like, continuing on a little bit. So they're saying, in addition to like the houses and homes, apartments, businesses being burned, they're using military-grade tactics. No cameras. They're spreading out so that you can't, like, they're not just like all concentrating in one area. So the police presence is there. They're like spreading out, so the police have to spread out as well, limiting their resources of what they can actually, you know, accomplish as far as the, you know, the police side. From what I've seen, and it's limited video, and I think that's probably a good thing. I know that the rioters are policing it in-house, no cameras. They get in, they get out. You know, you mask up, you get in, get out. Like I said, I can't really condone this, but I'm really not going to condemn it either, because when your people are being killed, you have every right. And you see, we also got, I guess Cinnabon Crystal decided to go lend her expertise in the field over to Belfast. See her here helping the lads out. So I'm not really sure whether like they're making some kind of beverage or what's actually happening. What's like snow, synthetic snow, styrofoam? Not sure what's happening. But you know, we'll leave them to it. They, like I said, they know what's best for their own people. All right. Lastly, I want to talk about this. I wish I could play this video. I've had terrible luck with copyright, so I'm not even going to attempt to play it with the sound on. This is a band, Polyphia. You may know them. If it's more of like a guitar kind of wankery band. So unless you're like super into, guitar instrumental type music, you might not know them. But they are very talented, very cool. Tim Henson, they're all amazing players, but Tim Henson's a very flashy, soulful, skillful player. I really enjoy his playing a lot. Most of like the guitar wank style, like the Steve Vai, Satriani, Malmsteen, that type of stuff, I'm not usually into. These broad, like 10-minute, just never-ending solos, this and that. Polyphia, they're cool. It's condensed. It's like pop songs, 3-4 minutes usually. The licks and the riffs are like very catchy. They're almost like a vocal chorus, if you will. They like repeating themes, but like very cool. Anyway, this song is like a little bit different sounding than their other stuff. But what's cool about it is the video, which will start playing. And as you'll be able to tell, I'll just recommend you go watch it. Polyphia, Can You Feel It is the name of the song. There's a lot of interesting scenes and visuals, and you'll be able to tell immediately that the guy who cut the video up is extremely based in red-pilled. Hello, base department calling. Come. I don't want to get flagged on this. I probably already did, honestly. So we'll stop it there. We got Spirit cooking. You got Epstein. You got all kinds of deep 4chan lore that they've brought in. So check it out. Well worth it. If you do not like this song, don't sleep on Polyphia. Like, check out a couple of their other songs. Goat is a good one. Lit is a good one. They got lots of good ones. The last album they came out with has a bunch of compilations with other artists. There's Chino from Deftones. And there's a little more vocals and lyrics on this last album that they had put out, I think last year, 2 years ago. So check a couple of those out. If you're into rock music, if you like guitar-based music, definitely don't sleep on them. Definitely worth your while. I think, though, that will do it for this week. Like I said, we're going to try to get back into a more regular schedule. Just everything's been busy with the summer and everything going on. Lots of stuff going on. School's ending. But we're going to keep at it. We will see you next time. This has been P&G Weekly. Peace.